We were all, like our heads were all skint, because we'd had sores from not getting the proper food.
Yes.
We were pretty dirty, I guess, ragged.
Well, Myrtle was 10 years old, 10-year-old kids cooking and taking care of 4 other children. That's ridiculous.
Well, I think Clyde and I, we took care of ourselves.
I'll just take, for instance, like they had made like $500,000 profit after laying off so many people and doubling the work on the ones that they had there. And he said, well, we made $500,000 by laying that many off and making the other ones work harder. Let's lay some more off and put the work, that much more work, onto the ones that are better. We should make more money. Well, that is why the union got started in North Carolina. Our mother couldn't take anymore. They were working 12 hours a day. They were sick. Their kids were sick. They weren't making any money. $7 a week. Working 12 hours a day.
Starvation wages.
Well, that's their communists. They'll go where the people aren't satisfied and they aren't making a living, and that's how your communists get started.
Well, Vera's husband was the one. He was ahead of that. Vera and her husband was the head of the union organization that went down south. In fact, they went Philadelphia, the steel mills, and that's what her husband was noted for. When she went down south there, her husband took her down there, and he went and left her down there doing the organization or whatever you call it.
Organizing.
And she said that, she told me that when she seen those people up there at Bessemer Mills at Mama, she was the most outstanding. Said she could just look at her and tell Mama was intelligent. Said she seemed to be smarter than the rest of us. Well, she was threatened at work when the strike started. They had asked the colored people, which had been doing, just a odd job around the mill, and the cheap labor.
Dirty.
Yeah. They had asked them to go to work and do the work like, run the equipment like Mama and them with the mill, And Mama had talked to them. She was real close to the colored, more so than anybody else, because we lived right down there amongst them, and they knew Mama and they trusted Mama. All right, Mama told them, said, don't do it. Said, because if you do go to work for them and do that work, after the strike's over, you're going to be put back in the same position you were, and said, you'll just be just as bad off as what you are. Said, you got to fight for anything you want, and if you stand up and fight with us, said, then you can, it'll be like joining with us, and said, you'll be better off. And so, Mama, and when they would go have their meetings, they said that they'd run a rope down the hall where they had it, and the blacks were on one side, and the whites were on the other. Said my Mama just cross over that rope and go over amongst all the colored, and and she was the only one that could do it, and get away with it. Colored people were going to go to work, at first, but after Mama talked to them, they decided, well, we better hadn't. And so when they come to get the colored people to go to work, well, they said no. Said Miss May's already talked to us about that and said we're not going. And one of the men, I don't know who he was, but I've heard Mama talk about it. She said that he threatened her, said, all right, May, said you're getting yours. And I don't know if that guy's the one that shot my Mama or not, but I know that Mama,
they said
she had been threatened, is all I know.
Would you repeat that about your mother having a premonition, say she had a dream?
She had a dream, and she had a trunk that she got all the stuff together that she had for each one of the children, and set it all aside, and she said, I will be shot through a window. And Uncle I told her, he said, well, if you know that this is dangerous, drop it. You have children. Take care of your children. Let other people do the fighting. You just leave it alone, drop it. And she said, no. She says, I want my children to have something other than what I've got. She said, I don't want them to have to live like I did. So every time she'd go anywhere, when she went into a room or anything, she'd sit with her back to the wall, facing the window. and they asked her why this was, and she laughed and she said, well, I'm going to get shot through a window. And she says, they will shoot me to my face. They won't shoot me behind the back. And so the day that she went out, well, you said that Mom talking me all into not taking guns with them out on this rally that they had that day. Well, my father, Charles Shope, my cousin, Frank Picklesheimer, they were there. My mother was standing up in the back of the cab of the truck. Lincolnfeld was driving the truck. He said that his window was open, and the bullet, when it came in, I told my dad and uncle, I used to listen to them talking, I said, well, Mom said she dreamed she got shot through a window. She didn't get shot through a window. She got shot off the back end of a truck. And Charles says, no, your mother got shot through the cab window. The bullet came through, and my mother was standing with the left side evidently towards the window. It came through the window and went through the left arm and in through the back to the heart. And when she fell in my dad's arm. He grabbed her, and she said, they shot me dead. And my father reached over to grab her so that she wouldn't fall off the truck. And as he leaned over, the next shot that came through went through his hand. And Frank Picklesheimer, before the truck even stopped, he was at the truck that they were on had been stopped. They had turned a car over in front of it. But before they could stop Frank, he jumped to the back of the old truck there and just went for the crowd. He was screaming. Charles said he was a screaming maniac. He said, you rotten yellow sons of bitches, you done killed Ellie Mae. And he said, which one of you did? Well, they started to disperse then. But some people think that they were just shooting into the truck. But my father and my uncle spent money to try to find out. And what I'd like to know to this day, who did kill Ellie Mae?